Hey, this is Mark Davis with Big Water Adventures. I'm going to do a FG knot for you. I finished it a little bit different. The guys down in Australia actually had me burning the tag in to keep it from pulling through. So when you watch the finish, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is 60-pound Seaguar thread lock and this is 100-pound Seaguar blue label. And the first thing I'm going to do is take about 2 feet of it. I've got it on a rod right here, so I've actually got some tension. And I'm just going to put the tag in my mouth, and I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to lay it over like this, and I'm going to wrap it 20 times. And I'm telling you all this because once I get started, it'll actually go pretty quick. So I'm going to put it in my mouth, and I'm going to wrap it, interlace it back and forth 20 total times. Or if you want to, essentially that'll be, 40 times, but 20 back and forth. So just watch. All right, so that's the knot right there to start with. Now, to finish it, all I do to start with is do a couple of half hitches and pull them tight. And when I say pull them tight, I pull them tight with my teeth, which I know you shouldn't do, so don't do what I'm about to do, but this is how I do it. There's one. And you notice on the half hitch, I'm going over both of them. I'm going over the fluorocarbon and the braid. And pulling tight. So now that knot's locked down, but the most important thing, 2 important things really, is the finish as well as pulling it tight before you ever try to finish it. So now I'm going to go down to my shoe. You always need to wear shoes for this because you're going to need 2 shoes basically, one for there, and then I'm going to wrap the fluoro, once again 100-pound blue label. Now to pull this thing tight with braided line, you can use a set of gloves that works really well, or you can just take a screwdriver. And for me, I need 2. You see, I use my hands and feet pretty much on this entire thing. But I like one that's nice and grippy. I'm not sponsored by this screwdriver company. They just happen to work really well. So I've got my tag in my left hand and my main line in my right. So the first thing I do is cinch that knot down just a hair on those half hitches. And then if you'll watch right here, you're going to see this thing as it draws tight. It's going to start to get more translucent. It'll lose that flush color to it, and it'll actually grip and bite into the fluorocarbon and take on the coloring of the fluorocarbon itself. So I'm pulling pretty hard right there. Now for the finish, now that thing is tight, I'm going to leave it as is. Everybody's got a different way of finishing this thing. This is the way that's worked really well for me. I'm going to go through and I'm going to go just only on the lead line, which is the braided line, not the leader itself. So the main line, I'm going to do 2 half hitches like this, and I'm going to pull them tight. Then I'm going to do another one, I'm going to pull it tight. Now here's where I do something just a little bit different, but it was taught to me, I didn't come up with it. As I'm keeping everything tight right here with the screwdriver against my foot, I'm just going to do about a 3-turn uni, coming back down toward the knot. So I'm going to hold it right there, and I'm going to go through 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm just going to take the tag in on that. I'm going to pull it tight, just like that. Now, you don't want to pull too hard on this, but you want to cinch it up with your other screwdriver. So I'm going to go back down here while I've still got everything on there. I'm going to go back down and I'm going to cinch it just a little bit just to pull that tight. And then as a final, once you're done with that uni, you can go ahead and cut this off, but leave about 1 inch. And I'm going to show you why here in just a minute. Leave about 1 inch. Pull that back up tight, get it nice and cinched. So now we're going to take everything off, all the screwdrivers. So your knot's done, it's finished. But what you do, what I started doing, the only problem I ever had with these FG knots, you can trim this off nice and close with a pair of scissors, right to where you can see it right there. Cut that dude off so it's nice and close. When I went down to Australia this past year, I started watching those guys down there tying them. If you throw this and wind it up through the guides over a long period of time, sometimes this tag end, no matter how tight you pull it, even with that uni on there, sometimes that thing will start to loosen up. Just take a regular set of pliers, just like this, and you're just gonna hold it right there. And then you're gonna do what we all love to do, set stuff on fire. Watch that. Watch this little hammer that thing builds. And with that, right there, you've essentially made, this will go through your guides with no problem at all. It's actually smaller than the tag end, but what it's done is it's fused that braid right there to where it'll lock in place and it won't go through. You see I got just a little bit of a tag end left on there. You can actually go through and do it one more time, get it a little bit more flush. The pliers keep you from lighting the knot on fire. That's it right there. When you use it over time, this knot will stay fused to where it can't pull back through that uni, and you don't have to worry about it slipping back up and coming loose after you've used it for a period of time. But that right there is an FG knot, 60-pound fluorocarbon, Seaguar thread lock to 100-pound blue label, and I've used this thing for pretty much everything that swims from Alaska to Australia. And once you learn to tie it right, get it cinched down right, and finish it right, it's foolproof. I mean, it's a wonderful knot, slips through the guides really easily. It's one of my favorites.